Hello everybody! It's currently the first week here in 10.1, and in this video I want to show you how you can quickly level up a new or gear up a new character if you're looking to maybe, switch to a new class or a new main or something like that. That's always one of the worst things for me when I switch classes between seasons, which is something that I tend to do. Sometimes I play tank, sometimes I play healer, but your character is then vastly under-geared compared to your old character. And if you want to play with your friends, that's kind of gonna suck if you're 40, 30, 50 item levels behind. So I'm actually not going to switch to this rogue here. I just use it as an example. But as you can see, this character is actually 50 item level behind most of my friends. So that means that if I don't get this up running in a couple of days here, I'm not going to be able to play with my friends coming next week. And in this video, I want to show you how you can get to an average item level of around 410. To put that into perspective, for maybe people that haven't played for a bit, 410 is basically what someone who did, Mythic plus 15s and Heroic Raid would be at the end of the patch. If you're doing a little bit higher, if you're doing, Mythic Raiding, or if you're doing, let's say, plus 20s in Mythic Plus or something like that, you probably have a little bit of a higher item level around 420. The absolutely biggest ballers that do the full raid and have gotten all the super rare items with extra item level, they probably have a couple of item levels above that. They can probably get to 424, 425 this week, but 410 is going to put you in a great position to switch character with very little effort. It's also going to allow you to basically play any of the same dungeons next week that other people. And once gear starts to drop, everybody's going to switch their gear outright, and it's going to equal out very, very quickly. The important part is that we actually can play the same content as our friends. So what do we need to do? There's basically three things to this, and I will try to do it without rambling too much, but I'm a little bit scatterbrained and tired today, so sorry about that. The first thing that we want to do is that we want to do 3 dungeon quests, and sadly there are 3 different types of dungeons. So outside the auction house here in Valdraken, Castro here has 2 dungeon quests that give you an heroic item level chest, raid item level, from the Vault of the Incarnate Raids, which is the Season 1 raid. So this is, last patch content, but they still give you a fairly good item level. Those items are going to be between 402 and 411, depending on which boss it drops from. So that's a good start. On top of those quests, we also over here in this part of the map, we are currently up here. This is the house that used to have, go do a dungeon that is specific for this week and get 500 rep. This week, however, and I'm not sure this is going to stay later in the patch, but currently this week, you get an heroic item level world quest thing. It's really weird. So basically it's a 415 item, but it's from the loot table of stuff that normally drops in world or, world quests. So it's not going to be raid or mythic plus items. It's going to be something that you find in open world. But as far as I know, it can be, any slot, which includes trinkets. So you can pick that one, or you can pick these guys. If you are very well geared, it might be worth picking the Crest. If you are, looking to max out your eye level, if you're not already for 15, I will pick this item. But all these 3 things are random, right? So we don't know what item slot they're going to end up in. It's only 3 slots that we get here, so hopefully they don't, end up in the same slot. But we want to start with these because they are random. What we want to end with is actually crafting. So crafting is going to allow us to choose which items we want to upgrade. So first we want to get the random stuff out of the way and then craft the slots that we have left. At this point you should go down to the new zone. But I won't show that just yet, since we're already in Valdraken, and also because I want to, put the spoilers towards the end of the video, I want to go over what to do with crafting first. However, you should wait with this part until the last thing you do for the week, right? So, to explain for the people that are looking at this point, to actually go down to the new zone, If you haven't played, 10.0.7 and the zone Forbidden Reach, which is up here, at least one character has to have done this in order to start the 10.1 questline. And that character then needs to do the 10.1 questline until the point where you reach the new faction hub and do some things there. You don't have to do things much further, but I think that you need to complete chapter 1 if that's the case, right? You always have these chapters, right? So you can see I'm currently at 0 out of 7. But one character needs to do that. So you can do this in a couple of different ways. If you're looking to main switch, but your main already have done the Forbidden Reach, it might not necessarily be a bad idea to just take that old main and go down and do the 10.1 stuff up until like you unlock that zone for your alts, right? You can also just say that, hey, I'm gonna level this character or play this new character anyway, go and, repeat the Forbidden Reach, take that, your new main character, and go do the new zone. That's also an option. But one character has to do it. So whatever version works for you, go for it. But it's going to be important that one character does. You only need one character to do this. So for me, in this case, I'm looking to gear up an alt in preparation for the patch, so I can play that alt at the competitive level and don't have to start out doing, mythic zeros or heroic dungeons. And that means that my main has already gone down and done the 10.1 stuff. So for me, I can just, I can actually not pick up the quest line on my alt currently. You can see here that the quest that I need to accept is over here in the Forbidden Reach. But I can just ignore that and fly straight down, and I will show you that towards the end of the video where we talk about the new zone. But for now, let's go into crafting. So crafting is going to depend on 2 items for this week specifically. In this patch, it's going to exist 4 different levels of crest fragments. So you have whelplings, you have drakes, and then you have 2 additional. They correspond to LFR, normal, heroic, and mythic level raid. You can also get them from different other things, right? So the LFR is just stuff you get from open world activities. You open a chest in the open world or the new zone, and it's going to give you these whelpling Shadowflame crests. The drakes is the one that is for normal raid, so you can get that from normal raid, you can get it from lower mythic plus, but you can also rarely get it from open world. So if you kill, for example, rares in the new zone, it will drop one or a couple of these fragments. So you actually have the option to farm out a fair amount of these this week. Both of them for week 1 are capped at being able to earn 150. I think this cap is supposed to grow over time, a bit like Valor did, like you can kind of catch up to your old cap. If you take a break for 1 week, then you can farm 2 weeks worth of these, like the next week, for example. But for week 1 here, we're limited to 150 of each. 150 whelplings, which is the open world easy one, those are going to be very easy to get. 150 of the drakes is probably going to take a little bit of time commitment, and I'm not necessarily sure it's going to be worth it, but that's up to you and your preference. The thing we're going to do with them, though, is if we go in here and we search for crests, we can craft these enchanted whelpling Shadowflame crests. So you can see here that they cost some enchanting materials. They are basically free these days. There's a total value of 300 gold for the mats for this, and then 1 of these whelpling Shadowflame crest. So as I said, you can get 150 fragments, and for 15 fragments you turn them into a crest. So you can get a total of 10 crests per week, or 10 crests this first week. That means that we can craft 10 of these enchanted whelpling Shadowflame crest. And if we look at it, that means that we can make 10 408 items. And now you might say, but hey, we're going to be limited on sparks. And no, actually not. Because this is probably something a lot of people have forgotten. But if we go in here on one-handed weapon and one-handed swords, we have blue items and we have epic items. So the epic items are the stuff that requires the sparks, right? But the blue items, they don't. They just basic, leveling items. And that is the nice thing, because we could upgrade these in the past with something called a Titan training matrix. And this is basically what this is. So you can see here Titan Training Matrix 2, 3, 4, and this enchanted Whelpling Shadowflame Crest is a Titan Training Matrix. So that we don't require sparks. As you can see here, like crafting this one-handed sword is 150 gold worth of materials. Like they are also super easy. You need 50 skill. So basically any crafter friend you have will be able to make these for you. So we would slap in one of these, and then we want to craft, 10 items of this. The only problem we have here is that I don't think there are any trinkets in this slot. So we can actually go in Misk, trinket. Yeah, so you don't have any blue trinkets, so that's not something we're gonna be able to craft with these items. However, I think it might be possible to still get the sparks. It's a little bit weird. So you could, for example, make an alchemy stone here with a season 1 spark, and then that would be 390. So at 395 highest eye level on that one. But there are a couple of other things that we're gonna go over. You also, so just to recap a little bit where we are currently, right? We have done the 3 dungeon quests that gave us 3 items. One of them being pretty good at 415. We are able to craft, but shouldn't yet, craft these 10 items here for the Whelpling Crests. So now we have a total of 13 items that we have possibly acquired for this patch, right? But we are also going to be able to get a spark this first week. And I will show you how to do that once we get to the new zone. It's actually pretty easy. And if you are a class that can use a one-handed weapon, so if a mage, it's a one-handed caster dagger maybe, and if you're any melee DPS, you probably want the one-handed, that is probably the best way to use your spark week 1. And if we do that, so let's say we are a rogue as I am, so we're going to craft a dagger here, I'm going to craft a short blade, and then we're going to slap in, the big spark here from the new season. That item is going to be 424 eye level, and that we can do straight away right now, and it's just like the base item level, right? So that is something we absolutely want to do if we can. However, that's also going to come later, because first we need to get that spark. But now we basically have crafted ourselves a total of 11 items. We got then 3 from dungeons, so we have 14 items, and I will have some very nice ways to acquire the last couple of things that we have. So at this point, I will need to fly down into the new zone. So if you don't want to see that, or you don't want any spoilers, this might be a good time to pause the video. I will give you a couple of seconds to do that if you are randomly away from your PC or something. But yeah, now we're gonna fly down. So as I mentioned before, if this is your first character going down, you need to have done the Forbidden Reach questline first, and that will start a new questline in Valdrakken that investigates this funky hole. The funky hole will be here regardless, so you can actually just fly down, but you need to do it the proper way on at least one character, or you're not gonna find a lot of stuff down here. You can still kill the rares, but the questline and the spark and stuff will not be available to you. However, once your first character has gotten to the point where they have gotten their spark, or I think even just unlock the quest to get it, your alt can just ignore the whole quest part and fly straight down. So down here, we're gonna get to the big hut here in the middle, and there you have this little guy here called Mimup, and they have a quest called A Worthy Ally that will reward you half a spark. However, can't really do much with half a spark. So what we will do is that we will pop outside, and here we have another person. I'm not gonna try to pronounce the name. Tashara. Okay, I did try to pronounce it. But basically she says, hey, I found half a spark. I have no idea what to do with it, but if you have another half, I can give it to you, so you have a full spark. It's better that you have a full than we have half each. I think this is just so we can craft an item week 1. A little bit of a blizzard help. Right? So what we need to do is that we need to get our half a spark. And the requirement for that is to get 1500 reputation with a low amnifin. There are some really funky ways to do this. If you are here on your first character, The best way to do that is simply to go down here and do the storyline. That will easily give you the rep that you need. However, you also, sorry about all the noise. That is, I could have turned it off for the video, but I didn't because I want to show you this. So this is an add-on called Rare Scanner, and it basically gives that sound anytime I'm close to a treasure chest or a rare. And that is going to be really important because that is going to be our biggest source of these crests. So that is something that we absolutely want to have on. You can see it alerts me there that there's a rare over here, but we will get to that in just a little minute. Back to our goal of getting that 1500 reputation. As I said, if you're on your main, the best way is just to go there, do the quest, and do the main quest line, and you will get your rep that way. Very easy. If you're an alt, you need to have done the Forbidden Reach to get the main quest. So you need to put in a lot of redundant, annoying time just to unlock the quest. So I would advise against that. Instead, there are other ways. So this guy here, Yaren, he has a quest where basically, I already picked it up. Basically he says, hey, I lost my mouse. I have no idea where it is, but I love my mouse and I want you to find it. This quest line takes about 5 to 10 minutes. You need to kill some stuff, and when you do find his mouse, he will give you an item that gives you 1000 rep. During this first week in here, I think it should be the Darkmoon Fair. I think that should always be the first week of a month. I'm not 100% sure because it doesn't show up here in the calendar for some reason. I think it should have said. But if it is up, I would recommend to go to the Darkmoon Fair and get the 10% rep buff before you do this part. Just save some times for you. So doing this questline will give us 1000 of the 1500 rep that we need. Then you have some world quests. So here we have one that gives 100 reputation, this one gives 100 reputation. These can depend a little bit on character and zone, I think, so might not be the same for you. But it should be some type of stuff down here that will give you some easy rep. However, something that everybody should have is this is some version of an epic quest. So the epic quest this week will on this character give me a one-handed, which is awesome. Especially since it's 4 or 5. But that epic quest also give 150 rep. So doing these things together, like doing a couple of world quests, doing the epic world quest and finding his mouse, should get you that 1500 rep. And that should very quickly put you at the point where you have your spark. The spark, as I said, is very likely that even if you get, your even if you end up in a position where like you do the dungeon quest and they give you a weapon, crafting a weapon with your spark, if you are a melee DPS class for example, is very likely going to be your best bet anyway. I really didn't want to fight today. I'm recording a video. Rude. Can we just... I haven't played this character in so long. Okay, vanish there. And while you're down here, just collect these fragments, right? And we're gonna go and we're gonna kill all the rares, and when you have farmed all the things down here for a while, you're gonna have a lot of 3 resources. You're gonna have some resources called flight stones that show up in your currency tab. It's basically the new primal chaos, but a lot easier to get, so we have flight stones there. You will also have the whelpling fragments, and you will have the drake fragments. So once you have gathered all the stuff that you want there for the week, right? What you can do is that you can pop into the hut here again. We turn in our spark quest and everything down here. But then you have this item upgrade dude. And what this guy does is he allows you to upgrade blue items. Because as I said, if we count all the rewards that we have gotten, we have 3 dungeon quests, we have 1 epic world quest, and we have 11 crafted items. But we have 16 slots. And if you get any of them duplicates, for example, you're not going to reach 16, and at best I think you will reach 15. And that is simply not where we want to be. We want to have everything good, right? So while playing down here, you're going to get just these, 385 blue items. from killing rares and stuff. And for just a low amount of Flightstone, you can upgrade them all the way to 398. It's not perfect, but it helps that item, right? Having one bad item is okay, especially like if it's not in a weapon slot, for example. And this is also sort of where we hope that we will eventually get a trinket. And that is something that also can help if you do any, like do the quest down here, because a lot of the quest, I think especially the quest down here in this area, does give trinkets. They might not necessarily be the best, but we are after eye level more than optimal builds, right? So this guy is great for upgrading that type of stuff. But I will log over to my shaman that is at the same location, but he has just a little bit better gear. So on my shaman, I already done the quest, the dungeon quest that gives me the 415 item. Sadly, I got a cloak out of it. It's not the greatest one. I would have loved, you know, a weapon or a shield or something, but hey, what can you do? But this guy can upgrade items way past 398. He can upgrade items all the way up to, you know, 440 or something. But I will show you how it works. So if I give him an item here, I don't have any of those blue items on me. If I give him an item here, I give these 402 cuffs, for example, and I want to upgrade them here to the next level, it will cost a Whelpling Shadowflame crest. And since we only have a maximum of 10 of them this week, this is probably not a good way to go about it. Because what we get here for this is that we get a 405 item. And if I just want to get it to 408, which is the same that we can craft things to, it will cost us 2. So crafting is just a lot better spent resources this first week if our goal is to just maximize our character, right? However, what we can do here is that we can slot in the 415 item. And as you can see here, that this item does not cost Whelpling anymore. It costs Drakes. And Drakes is, you know, it's the normal raid level of the crests. And here we could, for these guys, take this item up all the way to 424. If we go past that, if we go to Champion 5, it will cost the heroic raid, and we can't get them this week as far as I know. But we can get another item up to 424 this way. So it's only going to work on this item since it starts at 415. I don't know of any other way where you can get a base 415 item this week. I think it's only this quest. But that means that we're going to have 2 items that are now on 424 because we crafted one with our spark, and then we got one from this quest, and hopefully they were not in the same slot. Or, I mean, you can always choose for them to not be in the same slot, since one of them is crafted. And we don't really have much else this week to spend Drakes on. It might be worth saving your Drakes for next week, because these are going to be used to upgrade, you know, Mythic Plus and Raid item levels instead. So if you don't want to do this, you can save them and use them next week. But it might be worth using this week's collection of Drake Crest just to get yourself a good running start here going for next week. Possibly even. So the epic quest I showed you earlier, for this character I got this Deep Rock Loop, which is a ring. And here you can see that if I would upgrade this a bit higher, it cost me 2 Whelpling Crests. So I need to go through all the levels to get there. So if your character is not super bad, but like maybe you did a few, like you got boosted in a couple of keys from your friends, you have, you know, 5 good items that are 415 from doing other things during the season, but you have a lot of slots that are bad, then you're not going to need all your 10 Whelpling's Crest to craft things. You can actually use a couple of them to upgrade things. So here it's actually going to be possible to get a total of 3 items, I think. No, I lied. These cost 4. So we can get 10 total this week. So we can get 2 424 items and 1 418 item, if that is good for your character. If you're on a character like my rogue that was, you know, 350 item level when I started playing today, this is not going to be a good choice. It's better to just upgrade my really bad items to an okay level instead of having a couple of good items. But yeah, that's a couple of ways that you can go about getting your gear. And if you are in the same case as my rogue, you're starting basically a fresh character that has trash gear. With this situation, even if you do end up getting a duplicate or you can't find a good trinket or something like that, you should be able to get to a position where you're averaging something around 410 to 412. A little bit depending on luck and everything like that, right? 412 might actually be a little bit high. Yeah, you're probably going to get to around 410 doing this. But yeah, I hope this video helped, and yeah, have a good one and good luck.